So when Allah uses sawfa, in this case about judgment day, He's referring to the non-believers who don't believe on the day of judgment itself. And even if they do, they believe it's not today, it's going to come after a long, long time. This is genius. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Inshallah ta'ala, in this lesson, we're going to look at the signs of verbs, and we're just going to mention some of them so we don't have to make it very long. Now, what's important to realize is that these signs normally assist the Arabic student to identify words before even knowing how those words are used. Before you understand how to use the words, you can identify them before that. Bear that in mind. So yes, vocabulary might be key, but grammar as well assists you to get through the roots of the vocabulary. Bear that in mind. It's very simple. Now, there are no like 10 signs, 11 signs, or all of the signs that you might find that all indicate to one thing. But there are certain signs which the ulama, they have literally narrowed them down to say that it doesn't matter. Regardless, when you see this sign, then definitely it's a noun, or it's a verb, or it's a preposition, so that you can be able to know, okay, so what are you dealing with? Are you dealing with a verb? Are you dealing with a noun? Or are you dealing with what? Because if you can't do that, no matter how much you try to look for the meaning, you will never reach the conclusion of it. That's how it works, and that's the nature of a language. If you cannot literally identify something by having its sign available, and you wouldn't be able to know so, then it becomes extremely difficult for you to even know and understand what that means. So if you have the sign, it literally solves 50% of your problems, so that you can be able to understand the rest of the other 50 that's left, inshallah ta'ala. So let's look at the definition of a verb first and understand what a verb stands for بإذن الله الكريم. الفعل كلمة دلت على معنى في نفسها واقترنت بزمان. What does that mean? It means the verb, الفعل means the verb, it means the verb. كلمة, it is a word, دلت, which indicated, على معنى, indicated to a meaning, في نفسها, within itself, واقترنت بزمان, and it has a tie with time. Now, that is not difficult to understand, isn't it? It's extremely easy. Like, what you need to understand is that a verb, if it is tied with time, then in life there are three types of times. You need to understand that. In life, we normally have three types of times. We have the past, we have the present, and we have the future. Like Ibn Ata'Allah Sakandari rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions, the past has gone and there's nothing you can do about it because what's left of it is a memory. And the current is what you have within your grasp of what you can do, what you're supposed to do. And the present is something which is not born yet. The present doesn't even exist. The future, afwan, the future is not even born yet. It doesn't even exist. Something which you do not have any idea of it coming in your life. Bear that in mind. So don't hold on to the future or hoping that the future has something good for you while you don't even know if you're going to get there. And don't cling to your past because that past is already gone. But make sure that you take care of the now so you can appreciate every moment of your life. If you do take care of the now, it doesn't mean that you live for today. No, that's not what it means. That's not the motto of living for today and then you forget about everything else. It's literally abused, this understanding that you live for the now. People use it negatively. But in reality, it means if you haven't prayed, you pray. If you have the ability to do a ibadah, you do a ibadah. If you have the ability to do something good like exercising and studying and seeking knowledge, you do it. And building a good life for yourself, that's what's needed. But if you're going to focus on something which hasn't even appeared, something that has not come yet, then that's literally going to be wasting your time and your current moment. And clinging to the past is doing more than that. Not only wasting your time and clinging onto something which is meaningless, but beyond that is living in a world that has already passed. So we have to be very careful with our time, inshallah ta'ala. لذلك, if you look clearly on the whiteboard, You notice that the ulama, what do they say? They say that al-fi'lu madin, there's the madin which is the past, and we have the mudari' which is the present. The mudari' means present, and then we have the amr which is what? Mustaqbal. Okay? In other words, we call this al-amr wal-mustaqbal. Mustaqbal means future, by the way. Mustaqbal means future. But in basic terms, amr means command. Amr means command. Now, I don't want to get to the technicalities of the command, but what you need to understand is that this amr is something, this command normally happens in the future, even if it's after 2 seconds. Okay? It is the future where it takes place. And also the mudari', in this case in Arabic normally, it can be used to explain the future. It can be used to express the future. This can be used to express the future. Bear that in mind. That's not difficult, is it? So you understand, we have 3 types of time. The past, which is madin, and the mudari', which is present, and the amr wal-mustaqbal. I'm going to write it again up here. Wal-mustaqbal. Bear that in mind. Now, when it comes to the signs of the verb, you notice these signs happen to work. It depends. However, they happen to work with either one of these 3. You notice some of them, they only work with the amr. Some of them only work with the present, which is the mudari'. And some of them work with the past and the present. Understand this. Some of them work with the past and the present, while some of them only work with the amr. Some of them only work with the present. And you will find one of them which only works with the past. So each one of these have the sign that belong to each one of them individually, but then there are those signs which they share with one another. Now let me give you an example that you will see inshallah ta'ala from among the many signs that we want to cover today. Bi-idhnillahi al-kareem. Aywa, look. Qad. Qad is a sign which works for both past and present. Which works for both past and present. Aywa. The qad is a sign that which works for both past and present. It's as simply put. Now, if you pay attention carefully, you notice that qad has several meanings. Although this is known as a preposition, it is a preposition, it will still have a meaning of its own, but it doesn't work. Remember when we said that the preposition is a word, kalimatun, dallat ala ma'nan fi ghayriha. It is a word which indicated upon a meaning, it holds on to a meaning, but it does not have a meaning of its own. It has a meaning when it's combined with another word. Don't forget that. A preposition is meaningful and it contains a meaning when it's combined with another word. Now, similar to qad cannot have a meaning of its own unless it's combined with a present tense or a past tense, basically a verb. But can it work with the future tense, for example, such as the commanding tense? It can't. It doesn't work that way. It cannot work with it because qad does not belong to that. However, the qad belongs to the past and the present. Now, this is going to get a bit technical, but I want you to bear with me a little bit. This is going to get a bit technical, but I want you to bear with me a little bit. And something so beautiful you come to see, inshallah ta'ala. If you look at Tuhfatu Sadiyah, the sharh of Al-Ajurrumiyah, the Sheikh Muhammad Muhyiddin Al-Misri, this provides you with the explanation beautifully and simply by explaining to you how does the qad work and how it's used when it is in the past and how it is used when it is in the present tense. Now, if you look carefully, let's go back to the qad. Sorry to interrupt your session. Alhamdulillah, you're going through this session really well. However, we're bringing to your attention, bi'idhnillah, as an update. Soon, inshallah, we'll be launching the Mustafa's Academy's platform so that students who want to study Arabic get better, and those who want to just begin, they haven't done anything of any sort of Arabic, such as reading, and they cannot even pronounce a letter. They are total beginners. Bismillah, we have all of that for them, inshallah ta'ala. So do consider subscribing on our mailing list to be updated immediately as we open up, and do consider subscribing to this channel and share it with your loved ones, inshallah. It's provided that the qad, when it is in the past, when the following word that comes after qad, when the following word after qad appears appears to be a past tense, this is what happens. It has one of the two meaning. It means that surely something has happened, okay? Surely, or affirming, we can say it affirms, okay, the completion of an action, or it means something has come closer, okay? Something has come closer. Now, for example, let's use a very simple example. This ماضي قد أفلح. قد أفلح. What does قد أفلح mean? He definitely succeeded. Yes, قد أفلح محمد مثلا. قد أفلح محمد. قد أفلح محمد. Muhammad, we can wipe this off and write here, Muhammad definitely succeeded. Basically, you are so sure Muhammad succeeded, okay? And that literally says something. It says that it has definitely happened and it's not going to change. That's the case. But how would it mean that something is coming close? For example, مثلا, look at this. Normally when the adhan takes place, let's use a whiteboard. When the adhan takes place, the muadhin, when it comes to iqama time, for the iqama, he says, قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ. قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ. What does this mean? It means salah has been established. Now, has it been established really? As you're standing there, you haven't even prayed yet? No. This is what it means. It means this. It is very close. Very close. Very close. It's time to establish salah. That's what it means. It is very close. It's time to establish salah. So they say that يفيد التحقيق والتقريب. كيف يفيد التحقيق? How does it literally show that it means that something has happened? It's when you use it, for example, in the context of قد أفلح محمد. Muhammad definitely succeeded. Or قد أكل الطفل الطعام. The child has surely ate the food. That's what it is. The child has ate the food. So it's like قد أكل فلان, let's say الخبز. Fulan ate the bread. That person ate the bread. It's happened. You can't change that. Understood? So that's literally to affirm something. But to show that something is coming close is, for example, that we used قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةِ. Salah time has been established. Salah time has been established. Meaning it's very close, extremely close. Now it's time for you to pray. That's what it is. That's an example. I don't want you to look into the technicalities. What I just want you to understand is that the word that comes after the qad at this moment is a verb. The word that comes after the qad is a verb. Now, let's look at the other example, the other example of using qad for what? For the mudari'. Now, it can mean at-taqleel wa at-takthir, and I don't want to get into that technicality as well, but the example of what you can see of whether that comes ahead is the mudari', is the present tense, or the madin, or the past tense. Let's look at the mudari' first of all and determine it from there. If you look at the mudari', this could mean something high. There's a high probability or low probability. One of the two, low probability or high probability. Either high probability or low probability of something happening. Now, for example, if we say the truthful person might lie. Okay, is this probability high or low? This probability is low. The truthful person is not expected to lie, that's why. But then if you say the thief might steal again, is this probability high or low? This probability is high. Because you can see literally the pattern. The thief has stolen before and the thief might repeat it again. It's as simple as that, isn't it? But the truthful person, the pattern which is expected is for that truthful person not to lie. So how do you expect a truthful person to lie? It doesn't make sense. أليس كذلك؟ لذلك you look at the what? The type of sentence, and this would only happen to be clear for you when your Arabic gets good. When your Arabic gets good, but you know how is it used for probability, for higher probability of something taking place, and how is it used for a low probability of something not taking place. For example, you can see according to the context how it's provided. But the understanding of what you should leave with today, is that qad normally it is used for the past tense and the future tense. But I'll give you some secret for those students that want to be students of Arabic. Inshallah ta'ala, I'll give you this, but remember it's getting a bit technical. Bear that in mind. So this is a bit too grammatical for someone to understand. However, if you have reached this far, inshallah ta'ala, we would ask you to subscribe to the channel and also give us a thumbs up, share with your loved ones so they can understand, so they can benefit from this. And beyond that, inshallah ta'ala, do subscribe to our mailing list below so that you can be updated with the new updates and also the launch bi'idhnillah al-kareem that is coming up soon of the platform, where you will be able to access the knowledge, inshallah ta'ala, especially Arabic, with an affordable price that each one of those who are willing to do so and take the Arabic forth, they will be able to access bi'idhnillah al-kareem. So please do consider subscribing and do consider joining our mailing list. Jazakumullahu khairan. Now, if we move along, this is what I want you to look at, and I want you to take this as a secret. How do you, without knowing, for example, how do you know that the following word is a present tense? Now, something to tell you. The present tense has 4 letters which identify it. These 4 letters, where do they appear? They appear at the beginning. An example can be, look. يأكل, like that. Now, which letter here is the present tense letter? The ya. Another example that we can use is, for example, let's say تضرب. Now, see that ta is a present tense letter. Another example that we can use is أذهب. Like that. This alif here is a present tense letter. And last one is نصلي. نصلي, like that, inshallah ta'ala. Now, what's the present tense letter? You already know because we said it's at the beginning. It's the noun. It is the noun in this case. So what are the present tense letters? The present tense letters are alif, noon, ya, and ta. Alif, noon, ya, and ta. If collectively put together, they can be called anaitu. The scholars will say anaitu, like that. Anaitu. It's as simple as that, inshallah ta'ala. Now, what do you do? This is what I want you to do. In this case, for example, you look at this. Qad. Okay? Now, from these four letters, I want you to ignore the alif. Just follow the noon, ya, and ta. Look at the word yadhabu. You have to look at the word. Does it contain, question yourself, does it contain a noun sign? If it does not, it doesn't contain any sign, and it's clear like that, then just know this is a verb and it's present. Okay? And it's present. It's like that. Understood? It is like that. For example, now, is this absolute? Does that mean this what I'm sharing with you right now? It is absolute, for example, that's what it means, and once you see that, then it's surely a present tense verb. That's not the case always. These are just some examples that I'm giving you. But you need to understand that for you to know that this is a verb, you need to study the rules of verbs, and you have to have a lot of verbs that you've memorized for you to even be able to understand how the verbs work. So if you want to get better in Arabic, ikhwat al-kiram, listen, brothers and sisters, if you want to get better in Arabic, you don't have an option but memorizing the words. You must memorize that. If you cannot memorize a dictionary, but you can memorize the words that you use every day and the words that you need for according to the subject that you want to study in your life as a student of knowledge. Bear that in mind. That's number one. Number two, you need to study a lot of grammar as well. They need to go hand in hand. There's a position where you will come, grammar will be needed more than the vocabulary that you've acquired, because the more grammar you would have at that stage, the better your understanding of the vocabularies. And if you have less grammar and you just have more vocabulary, the more distorted your language would be, because you won't sound like a freshie. Actually, you will literally be destroying the language left, right, and center, because you cannot differentiate from the victim of an action, nor can you differentiate from the victim from the doer of an action. Basically, the subject to the object, you can't do that, and you wouldn't be able to explain the details properly of a certain action which took place. That's what it is. So when you come to learn the inflection signs, bear that in mind, that how do you use them in the various forms. You should be able to understand the basics of Arabic first, and this what you're doing right now. Remember this, it is the very basics. It doesn't mean that this is hard. It's actually very easy. I am just literally just trying to touch upon the small pieces that you can put together today and see the sweetness of it, inshallah ta'ala, to show you, if you commit, bi'idhnillahi al-kareem, it wouldn't take time until you come to realize Arabic, subhanallah, has always been the most simplest of language to study. All it needs is dedication. Without discipline in your life, you cannot reach anywhere. And I promise you that. And the ulama, the greatest of what they had was discipline. They had nothing else. They had nothing else. Do you think it takes anything else but discipline to read Quran every day? Do you think someone gets good at something without going through it every day? It is discipline. There is no other. There's no magic pill. There's no solution that you'll find elsewhere, and you will never ask anyone that has been able to become good at what they are doing at their craft if they wouldn't answer you with that the answer is discipline. The answer is discipline, whether we like it or not. So what you need is to write down everything that you learn it for yourself. If you have a question, go back to the teacher that taught you so they can answer your questions if you don't understand a concept, and then build from there, inshallah ta'ala. So this is one example. What is the other sign that we can look at today, inshallah ta'ala, in this class? The other sign is sawfa. Sawfa. Now, for example, you read in Surah Al-Takathur, أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ حَتَّى زُرْتُمُ الْمَقَابِرِ كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. Now, let's look for the surah itself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does He say? أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ حَتَّى زُرْتُمُ الْمَقَابِرِ كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ. Now, something I will tell you for sure. Whenever you see sawfa, the following word is surely a present tense. Understood? It's a present tense verb. Whenever there is sawfa, regardless of what the situation is, the following word is a present tense verb. It does not change. It does not change whatsoever. Understood? Sawfa. Pardon me. Whenever you see sawfa, know that the following word is a verb. Now the word sawfa, if you look at it, what does it mean? Sawfa means it will, okay, or shall. Any one of these two, will or shall, something that will or shall happen in the future. Happen in the future. Pardon my handwriting, by the way. I'm trying to rush a little bit. In the future. Now, what do you notice is this. Sawfa is not the near future. Sawfa is not the near future. It's the far one. Okay? It's the far. Understand that. That is very simple. You understand that it's for the far future. Like if we say it's for the near future, no, it's not. It's not for the near future. Nope. That's wrong. For example, however, it will depend on the context that you have with you. For example, something needs to be done right now. If it's completed in the next half an hour, it's too late already. It's going to be too late and it doesn't really work anymore. If someone says, I'll do it soon, سوف أقوم به, I would complete it, I will stand with it, I will complete it basically so soon, and then he says sawfa, he started with sawfa, then that means they might even stand to do it later after the half an hour. They might even stand to do it maybe later after 20 minutes from the time that it was needed to be done. So it would depend on the context. However, whatever is regarded as the far future, according to the situation, that's when you use sawfa. Understood? Anything that's regarded as the far future for the situation, according to the context, is regarded as far. لذلك, when you read the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on certain areas, for example, like Surah Al-Takathur, when we looked into it, Allah says, Kalla, nay, sawfa ta'lamun. You will come to know. What is it that they will come to know, and who? They will come to know about the day of judgment, when they are put on the stand by Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. When they are placed on the stand, they will come to realize. Why does Allah use sawfa in this case, while us as believers, as Muslims, we believe that judgment day is literally very close. In the blink of an eye, judgment day will appear. It's that close. We believe judgment day is coming very soon, isn't it? But Allah decides to use sawfa, because He was addressing the non-believers of Mecca in this case, while He was telling them, look, you don't believe in this, isn't it? How far you might see it, remember it is still close, it's still going to come. In the future, no matter how far you might say, it's in the future, not today, it will still appear. It's still going to come. It's very, very close. So pay attention carefully. That's what Allah used so far. This is genius. If you read the Quran like that and you understand, you realize, whoa, Allah uses these words according to the context. Now, do you understand why context is really important? So when Allah uses sawfa, in this case about judgment day, He's referring to the non-believers who don't believe on the day of judgment itself. And even if they do, they believe it's not today. It's going to come after a long, long time. But then in another case, Allah says in Surah An-Naba, عَمَّ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَإِ الْعَظِيمِ الذي هم فيه مختلفون كلا سيعلمون كلا سيعلمون. Let's retrieve the surah. Here it is. Allah says عما يتساءلون عن النبأ العظيم الذي هم فيه مختلفون. And then he says كلا سيعلمون. Now this scene, it works together with sofa. However, scene is for the near future. I did not mention it here because I don't want you to pay attention to it right now. It's simple, but I don't want you to pay attention to it right now. Just what you should know, however, when the scene appears and you understand it's the scene, the following word is a present tense as well. It doesn't change. It works together with the sofa. Sofa and scene, whenever they appear, the next word is a present tense. Bear that in mind. Simple. But look at the word سيعلمون. Allah says كلا سيعلمون ثم كلا سيعلمون, like that. He uses سيعلمون again, and it stands for the near future. Whereas in the other surah, he says كلا سوف تعلمون. You will come to know. Both of them, it stands for coming to know in the future. What does that mean? In the first context that we described, سوف تعلمون, سوف تعلمون, Allah was addressing the non-believers. But in the second context, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala of Surah An-Naba, which we mentioned, Allah was addressing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And because he was addressing the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Al-Habib al-Mustafa, he mentions it to him, they will come to know very soon. They will come to know very soon. Bear that in mind. So that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam reads the verses, and us when we read the verses, we understand it's happening really soon. But for them, they don't believe so. According to how it was between the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the non-believers then. And it's always been the case like that. A person who does not believe on the Day of Judgment coming soon, you're going to use sofa. And the person that literally does believe the Day of Judgment, the Judgment Day is coming very soon and it's going to take place as soon as possible, we always use the scene. So the scene is used for the near future, the sofa is used for the far future. However, it depends on the context. It depends on the context that you're in. Don't forget that, inshallah ta'ala. And those are among the few signs that you can see, inshallah, that you can use of the verb itself, bi'idhnillah al-kareem. And what I want you to pay attention on, bi'idhnillah, inshallah, as you look below on the description, there's a mailing list. Join that, inshallah ta'ala. Do consider subscribing and sharing. And beyond that, do consider joining the Telegram group where you will find the course material, for example, like this one. If you want a little bit of homework and brain teasers to literally get your brain working, in the Telegram group, inshallah ta'ala, you shall get that, bi'idhnillah al-kareem. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I'll see you in another lesson.